Parents strongly caution the following programs are intended for mature audiences over the age of 18. These programs may contain some material that many parents would not find suitable for children and may include intense violence, sexual situations, coarse language, and suggestive dialogue.
Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to another video. Today, I've got a real treat for us because it is our 2-year anniversary. So I wanted to just kind of upload a little bit early. There's still going to be an upload next month, but today we're going to be talking about common side effects. This show is... Meet Marshall. He's a bit of an oddball, but a cool guy nonetheless. He wants to find some mythological made-up mushroom that can apparently cure any disease. This crazy old lady named Heidi taught him all about it. Anyway, he's been traveling the world in search of these mushrooms. So now he finds himself exploring some random rainforest out in Peru. Eating Twizzlers out in the middle of nowhere is crazy. And then he finds them. Just kidding. He finds them. But unfortunately, they find him too. He's just barely able to make it onto the plane before his partner is ruthlessly shot in the face. The plane's fucking going down, and there is no time to think. Marshall downs those mushrooms like there's no tomorrow. Is that a fucking baby? After being reborn, Marshall has one of the most terrifying encounters I've ever seen. This strange white creature comes up and tries to kill him? Or maybe even eat him? We wake up. He somehow survived that epic crash, proving the mushrooms like healing properties or whatever. I'm not a mycologist. And then that turtle just pops out of his knapsack. Meanwhile, back in New York City, a young Frances, actively studying pharmaceutical meds in college, is struggling through her mom, slowly developing dementia. Sometime later, Frances is now working for one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in America, and yet she's still dealing with insurance issues, but that's not the point just yet. She's an assistant to her very, very important boss, Rick. Currently, they're holding a press conference because the newest drug the company released is making people develop depression and tendencies. He does try his hardest to fight off the crowd. It's pretty honorable, but then Marshall just comes to the mic and...
Now everybody from the 313, put your motherfucking hands up and follow me!
But Rick just pulls the authority card. He calls security, they have Marshall dragged out in seconds, but Frances knows Marshall. And now, she wants to know how the hell he survived that plane crash.
If I disappear, investigate Reunical Pharmaceutical.
Hippie living with his mom.
So the security rudely throw Marshall into the ground, and Frances starts to go up to help him, but then she remembers that she's a part of the problem, so she quickly takes off her name tag before helping the poor man up. So the two are forced to reintroduce. Frances brings up high school and doesn't realize that Marshall was actually kind of head over heels in love with her, and she might have had something for him too, maybe just a little bit. He asks what she's doing around here, and she almost slips up, but she saves herself and lies straight to his face, says that she's working for some small business firm or something. So they go sit on a bench and start talking up some more ketchup before Frances moves on to her mom's illness. After explaining the situation, he comes clean to her about the mushrooms he found in Peru. She just looks at him like he's insane, so he decides to fully commit. He picks up this random pigeon and just snaps its neck. She is completely freaked out, but then he sprays some like pixie dust onto its beak, and the pigeon is just reborn, no different than Marshall's experience. The pigeon's body turns on before finally awaking and just flying off. Good for you, little man. Frances lets out a sigh of relief before realizing what this actually means. He continues explaining more on how he found it, just in some clearing next to a random toxic waste pharmaceutical dump. He claims that Peru had the perfect soil and whatever else, so he needs to perfect that, but here, in order to literally save the world. He could take down all the big pharma, he could save her mom with one mushroom, they could possibly even bring people back from the dead. Meanwhile, these shady guys are hot on Marshall's trail, taking pictures of their chat and shit like weirdos. So then we meet the DEA, looking over these pictures.
They want it nipped in the bud.
They? Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so who do we got?
Shake, 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 Sinora time. Work, 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 Sinora. Work your body line and the line. Rock your body on time.
Yeah, Capano and Harrington. Yeah, they're good.
So Marshall decides to move the conversation to a more private public area, a coffee shop, and decides to continue explaining everything. But then, Francis gets a call right as he's explaining to her just how dangerous her company is. And that's when he notices a strange woman, and then a man, and now a picture. Shit, fuck, he's gone. So the detectives go through some facts about this Marshall character before they're called out to some actual job. Then we find Rick. He's super busy right now watching the newest cut of his advertisement, but he could give two fucks about anything. He's far too busy on his phone. Luckily, Frances walks in just in time. She completely lies and twists her way out of like every single question, just kind of making up some shit, really proving why she's Rick's number one. And this is when they bring up the legal disclaimer, and this scene is just so hard to watch.
Just need your okay on the legal disclaimer.
Constipation, nausea, stomach upset.
We have to say all that? Okay, well, how fast can you play that? That's too fast. Sounds like an elf.
Do you want the part about the ice chips?
Jesus, ice chips? No, they're on their own for dry mouth.
So Rick lets her in on some company shakedowns, explaining that if he goes down, she goes down too. So she busts out Marshall's idea, and he tells her if it's as good as it sounds, he's down. So Frances continues trying to reach back out to Marshall, but she isn't really getting any responses. This is probably because Marshall's back home, and it's out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And now, of course, our detectives, Capano and Harrington, are currently going over some evidence, and they're actively camped right outside Marshall's house. Luckily, Marshall already had a feeling. That man and his bullshit are long gone. Harrington finds some security cameras, and Capano finds some evidence of Socrates? Now, Frances is back home with her partner, and she's trying to erase her career off the internet. He just keeps on talking all about nothing. He's interrupted by a call from Marshall. He tells her he's outside, and he has Socrates. The coppers are hot on his trail, and he's in desperate need of a helping hand. So now this random man is having a private meeting with our dad's boss, Cecile. She hands over Marshall's file and tells him that he's a very dangerous man. But then he tells her that he's the one who found the mushrooms and distributed them throughout the village, and finally got in a lot of trouble for it. She makes the mistake of asking what mushrooms, and that's when the man pulls out a knife. Another man, a man named Jonas, nicknamed the Wolf, comes walking up from behind him. The man stabs himself in the hand and then quickly consumes this glowing blue mushroom, very same one as Marshall's.
What the fuck?
The agent is amazed and equally terrified, but the Wolf is no longer amused. He's fucking over it and wants Marshall gone for good. He tells her that he hired her, so she needs to fix this, use her power in the DEA, use her agents, and have Marshall arrested. So Marshall tells Frances that he has to come clean about it all. He claims a government agency is after him, he's being watched everywhere he goes, and he's being tracked no matter what. So he asks for super help, and sure enough, her life is pretty boring, so she's like, yeah, sure, why not?
Babe!
Yeah, one sec. Fish on the line here, babe.
Yeah.
She ditches her boyfriend and goes after him.
Come to daddy. Fuck yeah. You gotta go like right now?
But when she gets to the meetup, he's already long gone. All because these assholes were just sitting there waiting for him earlier. Oh, fuck, dude, that's disgusting. He ended up just passing out in his car. A cop comes up and yells at him for being in a no parking zone, but still lets Marshall off with just a warning, just as long as he, leaves the spot. While the detectives are nailing down the case, they decide to make a little bet. Marshall feeds ducks every day around the same time. Since he's gone, will they come back? So now all of a sudden, Socrates is just sick. So he goes into some random pet shop and looks at all the illegal fish. This is where his brother Zach comes in, and this guy is just like Bob's Burgers, like all of just that personality in one character. So this dude takes an upper, and this son of a bitch just sees the whole future, past, and current while he makes this awful looking concoction. But apparently, it'll fix Socrates right up. So Francis finds Marshall's YouTube channel. He's making all these weird videos teaching all this shit on random fungi. Then she finds Heidi, Marshall's old boss, the only person talking about the angel shrimp.
We've averaged 100 times more effective.
Hey, listen, you want to go to lunch with me?
What?
Well, the company is just completely fucked.
So he asks Francis for just any kind of amazing news at all, and she comes right on out, acting like she's nailed the plan. She tells him about Marshall, so without a second thought, Rick yells at her to go get his beamer and find this son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. So Marshall calls some scary lady who's currently out in the middle of the woods. So she tells him that she's too busy and that she'll send the twins on it. All they have to do is grab all of his animals and all of his files underneath the floorboards. And they just burn them all in the garbage can right outside. Oh, and put the animals in the truck. He continues studying his surroundings when he suddenly spots these two suspicious looking mover men. They're looking for him. They start walking up to him, but he's already long gone. Before their twins can successfully execute their plan, Francis decides to make a quick stop at hers too. Only she's searching for him. Sure enough, there is no sign whatsoever. However, the twins come running in, pretty fucking terrifying. She basically suffers an anxiety attack. She hides down pretty well though, letting the twins do whatever they need to, and they just run out of the house. But as she's regathering herself, one of the twins accidentally tipped the can over, resulting in Marshall's entire house just lighting up. So Francis is barely able to make it out, but she does take Rick's car and barely gets away from herself, by the way. So Marshall's out driving when this random guy comes up and blocks the front of his car. It's all a fucking trap, and this truck just comes out of nowhere. Luckily, Socrates bundles up.
You can't keep getting away with it!
But Marshall's fucking dying. He has to quickly take a shroom or two and just dips once again. Always one fucking step ahead, man. This guy's awesome. Now we meet Amelia, but they have to hurry because of their deal about their ducks. So Capano goes over some fungi that she found growing inside her home. But she pulls some fucking game though and grabs her number. What a pro, man. Capano hands over a call to Harrington and she tells her boss that Marshall's house was torched. And Cecile does not seem happy. So she calls Jonas again. He claims they underestimated Marshall, and once the call's over, he resumes his conversation with that new guy, so he asks him if he has any more shrooms. The guy just gets a little more than nervous though, and decides to roll down his window, before telling Jonas that he's explored his options. He's immediately shot in the head and thrown out of the car. Well shit, that is not a good sign.
You understand that wherever this mushroom exists, it must be destroyed.
He looks out the window, and all of a sudden, this cop is just standing there, and even the dog feels his eyes. So Marshall whips around, and that's when this guy, claiming this turtle is a Choco tortoise or something, but apparently Choco turtles don't grow in Peru, only elsewhere. And that's not really the point though. The point is this little guy. It may seem like a spider, but in all reality, that's a whole ass robot. Before Marshall really has time to process things, the cop comes onto the train, and Marshall's forced to run yet again. So Francis takes a trip to go see her mom. The front desk help lets her in on the fact that she's having insurance issues, and her mom may not be able to stay anymore. But Francis tells them to just give her just a little bit more time. That's when Francis finds a letter planted by Marshall. He left her a mushroom in order to show Francis just how well these fucking things actually work. So she mixes it into some pudding, and her brain immediately starts working again. So she gives her another, and then another. Now we just fucking wait. I'm just kidding. She dips after like 4 bites. For dementia? That's so fucked. Give her more. Don't give her more. Don't give her more. So Frances is back on a dinner with her boy. He tells her that he rented an Airbnb. It has a clean bathtub like she's been wanting. You can tell she's more than happy. But then she gets a call from Marshall. She yells at him about the DEA warnings hidden around his house, and he tells her he can really explain everything right now. But she doesn't really seem to want to be involved anymore. I mean, it's a fucking bathtub in New York City after all. Now the debts go over all the mushrooms and shit they confiscated from Marshall's home. And this guy tells everyone to leave her be.
Bye.
So Marshall comes up to some random car lot. He asks for a car that can drive, but the only one is some abandoned ice cream van. I feel like the cops would have a field day if they saw this shit driving down the road. So Frances goes back to Rick's. He claims she's going on a trip with him to Switzerland, but her boyfriend Nick can come. It's all paid anyway.
How many vacation days do you get anyway? 30?
Rick, I get 5.
Ooh, hire a lawyer.
So some fucking guy is arguing with his girlfriend when he just goes straight off the road, all because of some fucking deer. This dude's teeth are missing, his eyes basically gone. Like, this is just not a good situation at all. Bro should have just hit the deer. So Marshall only has like so many left. Like, what the fuck are we to actually do here? Anyway, Harrington goes over everything from this case and how fucking weird it's all been. All these suits walking around for really no reason, just staying quiet in the background. He asks what she's up to tonight. She's going out on a date with Amelia. She asks him not to spy on her date, but it doesn't seem like she'll be getting her wish. When Marshall gets to Heidi's house, well, it isn't exactly what we saw on YouTube. She's now like missing like all her teeth and like a decade older looking, but it's only been like 7 months. But hey, at least she still has the personality, right? And by that I mean she's absolutely batshit. She makes some tea, and he claims he's found it. She swears it doesn't exist, the Blue Angel just can't exist, but Marshall found it by accident in Peru. Then she laughs, claiming that she spent 15 years searching for it and that he's a fucking idiot. And that was just in Peru alone. He's ridiculous. But he tells her that he found a huge dump site right up the field. They need to get those shrooms out of there before they all die. It all lines up. Big pharma waste, all those toxic chemicals pouring into the ground has made the perfect specimen. The pharma companies themselves. She starts talking all crazy and asks if he's brought them here. But he's getting pretty shaken up and asks if she's been taking her meds. But then she pulls out a fucking gun and things aren't looking very good. Until she shoots right through the fucking heart. So now Marshall's forced to save her ass. Now Heidi's reborn. She looks around this crazy world and finds her head going through all the different cycles of life before turning into a blue orb. So then she touches it. Well, I sure as hell wouldn't have done that. But luckily, she's alive again, so I guess that she made the right choice. She confirms Marshall's found it, and she doesn't seem very happy. So now Capano sits around his lovely apartment, watching old movies in his underwear. He's busy researching Marshall, and sure enough, Marshall's wanted as a murderer in Peru. And now, Capano knows. Turns out Amelia dipped out on Capano. But there's no reason to cry over spilt milk, right? After Marshall let Heidi turn on Frances's inclusion, Heidi tries to just kill Marshall, but luckily, he took out the bullets after she killed herself, so he just walks away. I would've fucking killed her.
There were ghosts.
Now we move on with this dude. The deer once dominated him, now Marshall does. But when he wakes up, it's still there. This little guy. These fucking creatures, they're like coming into the real world or something. So Marshall finds a new dumping site. Frances launches to Switz with her annoying ass boyfriend.
Talk like you belong here, son. Call it a PJ.
Oh, hell yeah, a PJ. I can't believe like a car brought us right up to the door of a plane.
And Heidi calls some of her goons. She's after him. This is looking way worse than the government. This is when Frances's mom comes back. She snaps out of her dementia after seeing one of the little guys in person too. Hey, wait a minute. Oh fuck, man, this is not good.
You got what it takes.
Frances and her boyfriend get on, but she doesn't really seem to be there. He claims he wants to get married, but she doesn't really want to do anything with that route. Anyway, Marshall's now in the middle of like nowhere again, and he walks into a realty office and just straight away asks for this shitty plot of land, but she firmly states that he don't want it. It's right next to a dump site, which is why he fucking wants it, but she can't know that, obviously. He claims he wants to pay in cash for that plot of land, and that's when this random cop pops up. Marshall kinda tweaks, and he comes walking in, but it turns out he's just married to this woman. So anyway, this douche still refuses to sell the property. It's just so odd, but he asks if he's from the city, and Marshall takes it as an insult. So Heidi is one step ahead, checking every dump site. She's gonna find him, and when she does, he's as good as dead. Turns out Marshall lives right next to that detective guy and his nephews, so they act super funny, and they remind him to watch the trees, hard to see in the dark. So Frances tells Nick straight up that she don't want him to go getting hitched and shit, but Nick ain't having it, bringing up her mom and emotions, but she just dips. He fucked up. He's an idiot. Anyway, Rick's really struggling to find his role. Wait, oh shit, I'm an adapter. Oh wait, never mind.
We're no strangers to love.
He found it. All of a sudden, she gets a call from the nursing home. Her mom's completely good, so Frances hops right onto that fucking plane. She rushes right into Rick's room and she's like,
You know the rules, and so do I.
Marshall explains his strategy to Socrates. He's gonna get the right kind of mix to perfect a Peru soil. He's gonna go and steal some of that super infected soil, and he's gonna grow as many as humanly possible, but they don't come out right, like, at all. It is a massive fail, like, all around. And now, all he's got are 3 shots left. Like, fuck that, bro. That's way too much on my back. So the detectives look over Rick's super banged up car. So now we see a super young Marshall with his dad. He's kind of a dick, and his mom's sick, so he's stuck taking care of her, just while his dad goes to work. One day, while he was like in school, science or something, I don't know, Frances decides to seat bomb right next to him. It's there that he immediately falls in love. He tries his best to shoot his shot, but he kind of sucks, obviously. Then he snapped out of his daydreaming after the boys start shooting again. So Marshall heads to the post office to get something to Frances, and everybody is just so weird here. And that spider bug is out patrolling, but then it squashed shit. So the Dets make the connection of Frances with Marshall, making her a prime suspect. But none of that actually matters, because her mom's all good now, and they talk it out and catch up on all this stuff. Then she shows her a postcard. Marshall found a way to tell Frances where he was, through her mom. He's a fucking genius, and to say the very least, Frances is right behind him now, but so is Capano and Harrington. Now, of course, Frances has no game, so she's none the wiser. So Marshall pulls up to the post office yet again, and finds Frances lying on a bench. She's been waiting all day, and he's finally found her. She tells him that it worked, and they need to grow and share it with everyone, but he lets her in on the fact that things are not going well at all. So he grabs Frances a refreshment, but catches sight of a literal ninja watching them. Like, what the fuck? So he says he has to go grab something from his car, and this ninja pulls up into the fucking ice cream van, just in time for Marshall to have this weird sugary shit. He just blows the glass all over the dude's face, and just runs off. The dude's completely unscathed though, more or less just pretty pissed now. So the nephew gets his fucking bike stolen by this guy, and now everybody's just after Marshall again. When the guy finally catches up to Marshall, Frances is right there too. He asks her where the shrooms are, and he gets blown to fucking bits by one of Rusty's turtle mines. After the explosion, it helps JJ and Rusty determine where the dirt bike was, but all they find is a dead dog and a terrified little Frances. Marshall's there too, I guess. To say the very least, Marshall is in a lot of trouble, and Frances is a little more than traumatized. So JJ's obviously a little more than shaken up, and he's also a little more than curious on what the fuck is going on around here. And Marshall does not want any part in this whatsoever. So JJ makes a deal with Marshall. His son has a disease. They call it sludge spots. It's from the dump sites. The kids go playing in it, and it completely rots out their insides, giving them these patches until they finally choke and die. But the issue is, Marshall has like 3 left right now, but it's pretty obvious that if Marshall doesn't help JJ, he's gonna be in the hog pit right beside that ninja. So Marshall gives the 10-year-old this unregulated shroom, and Frances just records it all. This poor kid is reborn just like the rest. He slowly starts to breathe normally again, and his spots completely dissipate. JJ's more than blown away, and owes him so much more than his life. JJ promises to help him, and they mutually decide to forget about that wild hog accident back in the woods. Meanwhile, the Dets have found this new hideout. They're watching close, from afar. But either way, that's way too close for comfort. So Frances calls Rick and tells him that she can't come back until she's secured a sample. JJ gets home and finds the Dets on his fucking roof. They're putting up a camera and have won. JJ was none the wiser. He tries his best to scare them off, but it's too late anyway. So Marshall goes to a store with Frances. He picks up some feed and Heidi and her boys Jumper, and they found him. Easy peasy. So the weird kids bring over some smoked hog, but Marshall just has to make sure it's not the other hog they smoked last night. Turns out, they fed that hog to their real hog, so to say the very least, that meat is absolutely untouchable.
Huh.
After Marshall spots the new undercover DEA van, he just decides to walk right up onto it. He starts shouting at them and they kind of freak out since he's a murderer and they're just detectives. He tries to talk to them and asks them to arrest them, but they don't, so they just kind of leave him be. He asks them to give him one more day and tells them to not accept any barbecue from the Billies. So they discuss their last few options. After she swears, they should just trust Socrates and just let him walk, follow him. If he found it the first time, he could find it again, and Socrates chooses a special little spot. They plant some of the shroom, and I was fully expecting Socrates to eat it, but then he just shits all over it. So Rick shows his boss, and it turns out Rick and Frances technically work for Jonas, the guy responsible for nearly killing Marshall like 4 times by this point, the guy who fucking hired the DEA.
You can't trust videos these days, deep fakes and so on. He showed me a video where Coco Melon is in conference with the Pope, but it's just a bit of clever fakery.
After the meeting, Jonas calls Cecile, claiming that they have a location in North Carolina, and he's pretty pissed off and wants this dude on death row. So Frances comes back outside to check on the mushrooms, and sure enough, it fucking worked. They actually grew them. They've won. So Frances kind of biffs it up and calls the mushrooms a product, but Marshall is very quick to correct her, so they decide to take them together, just to see what could happen. It was especially perfect since they were both healthy. Marshall finds Socrates, and now they're fucking floating, and now they're turning into all these weird shapes, and now the little white dudes are back again, until finally, the dude from the car crash pops back up and stays. He reminds him that Marshall saved his life. Meanwhile, Frances is interacting with her mom. A little white guy comes up out of nowhere and breaks her mom's head open, revealing Rick, and then Marshall, saying all this super stressful shit, and she realizes that she needs to come clean about this whole situation. That's when they wake up, but she doesn't have any time to confess anything. The police roll up, and luckily Sheriff JJ comes out of nowhere. He tries his hardest to bail him out, but it's the fucking state. JJ's just pushed right to the side, and Marshall is apprehended. Before they stuff him into the car, Frances runs up and gives him a fat-ass kiss. This random guy who works at a grocery store may seem like your everyday random guy, but this guy is not random. He's a sleeper agent, and he just got a call that's gonna change the next decade of his entire life. Hired by Jonas, his only job is to be arrested, finish Marshall off in jail, and be bailed out. It's easy, also easy. On the way to another store. Once he walks in, he just starts fucking shit up. He breaks a bunch of stuff, and then the clerk pulls out a gun. And he puts it on him, but he just takes it right away. He lets the guy run, and he continues fucking shit up until he realizes that dude's too pussy to call the cops.
Yeah, you need to get over here and arrest somebody. 6'2", I'd say very handsome. Been drinking, though.
After Marshall's taken, Frances is looking for the drugs. She finds them relatively fast, but she still can't seem to find Socrates anywhere. Turns out the Dets found him before her, and all of a sudden, Frances is kinda jumped by Rusty. He really wants to get high on those shrooms, and claims Marshall would have given him some, but the Dets pull up, completely scaring Rusty off. They peacefully give her Socrates before dipping out again. So this guy pulls out a joint, and keeps trying to light it up. Marshall asks what they do for fun, but this guy just says you're looking at it. So Marshall goes off on a story, recalling his time in a Peru prison. There was a guy tattooing on some other dude's back about Indians having a war with aliens. That's when he spots the pod boss. He'll fuck up anyone who even looks in his direction. So the Dets meet up with one of their bosses. They try to ask some questions, but he just doesn't feel like answering any of them. He just gives them more orders. Marshall's walked up on by his old arson partner, and he promptly begs him to take the fall for his own mistakes, but he refuses to, saying it's way too much for him. He tells Marshall he'll never make it in prison anyway, and then just walks away. So Frances finally makes it back to her mom's room, and she tells her about the dream she had of being reborn, and Frances reminds her that there are some unexplored side effects that they don't fully understand yet. Then Marshall wakes up in the middle of the night, just to find his new cellmate ODing. This motherfucker calls for help.
Help the fuck up, no help's coming, bitch.
And then just makes the dope killer himself. What a fucking badass. But the pod boss is watching, and doesn't seem very pleased on the whole situation. So Cecile asks if they've grown any shrooms, and they refuse to answer the question. They tell her that the shrooms are now with Frances. Harrington tries to make some small talk, but Capano just quickly shuts it down. So Frances goes to see Marshall. She tells him that she's got Socrates back, and then asks him if it's a good idea to go with her business, but he yells at her at an instant. He asks if she has anything to do with them, but she swears she just drinks their sleep tea sometimes, but he isn't really buying it. He tells her to throw it away, they're no good, evil, corrupt, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, it's all the same. So then this big-ass dude stops Marshall.
You're bothering our friend?
So this dude just leaves him be. And now Marshall owes double. Son of a bitch. So apparently, he isn't getting bail. They fought it undercover, and the lawyer confirms he's dropping Marshall's case. Somebody wants him in there, and he's not hurting himself on it. Frances goes to see this lab specialist. He goes over some weird side effects from the new drug, and then shows Frances some chart explaining a decrease in deaths. The whole issue with the lawsuit, business going extinct, just the usual. Now Heidi is here talking to Marshall, claiming that since Hitler was on speed and coke, the government must be too. She starts yelling at him after he lets her in on Frances's involvement, and she continues begging him for the locations, but he just can't trust that whole stink she just pulled. Frances goes to see Rick in his office and asks if he's free. He claims he isn't, to which she claims she has his schedule, so he just says fuck it, why not, and she pulls out the fucking shroom. This is it, baby. So Cecile tells Jonas that they got Marshall, but she's still concerned on getting him out. However, he claims he's already had it covered. She says okay, and hangs up. All of a sudden, this agent splits up our favorite debts. Harrington is valuable, Capano isn't. He's shot into some BS team in Syracuse, and Capano is basically promoted to a super detective version of the DEA, specializing exclusively in angel shroom dealings. Marshall asks for a phone from his junkie friend, and sure enough, he knows where one is. He calls the PharmaCorp and asks for Frances, and then she answers. He quickly hangs up after she says hello, and immediately, basically forces Frances to turn on him. Right after the massive betrayal, Jonas's newest goon jumps in. He's got a perfect-sized needle that's going to kill Marshall in seconds.
It's okay. Relax.
So the pod boss and his boys just come right on in. They throw a fucking brick in the con's face and repeatedly stab him in the fucking gut, killing him in just a few seconds. So Frances's mom is lured out of her window by one of those white things. She innocently follows it onto the tree and feels alive for like a whole 5 seconds before a branch snaps under her, killing her at an instant. When Frances is walking back into her office, her secretary interrupts her and introduces her to Cecile. She's here to interrogate Frances, but Frances just sucks so much, so it makes Cecile's job way easier. Cecile decides to butter her up by revealing she was the original Jonas Wolf assistant, which is not only a massive honor, but made her an inspiration among many of the people, much like Frances's own self. So Cecile asks her if she's already given up the shrooms, and if Marshall knows, since, she locked him up, but Frances just continues telling her to leave. It takes her a while too long, so Frances calls in her assistant. After she walks in, Cecile finally decides to leave. So Cecile immediately calls up Jonas, and warns them that these desired shrooms of his, they're currently sitting at his fucking company, you dumb piece of shit. Meanwhile, Frances goes up to the top of her building, and Rick is just... Rick, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
I love standing like this. I pretend I'm an eagle, or an owl.
Rick, please stand back. That glass is not reinforced.
Hey, check this out.
So Frances is called up to her mother's funeral, and she doesn't seem too broken up about it. Apparently, everyone came, even Rick, so she runs up to talk to him. He genuinely cares. He shows her this fund that they've already created. He claims their company will make a massive donation.
When you lose your mom, that's something. You only get one of those.
So that car crash guy has been all over the TV now. And he's pretty fucking insane. The pod boss is watching when Marshall comes walking in at the perfect time. He says that he absolutely has to be a doctor in order to stay useful. He calls in one of his boys and has him pull out his foot, and it's just completely fucked. Like, that's disgusting. I don't even know how he's standing right now, like, honestly, what the fuck. Marshall asks the guy if he's a diabetic, but he's a guy. We don't fucking know any better. So he retracts. He asks him for a heavy stabilizer, and he replies with the best he can do, which are exclusively cigarettes, which completely eliminates the purpose, by the way. So Harrington is trying his best to jam out in his car, but his new partner ain't having it. He don't like music. But luckily, Cracky comes out of the shop, and Harrington busts his ass. His partners still don't seem very happy, though. So Capano is out at a club, also looking for drugs. She asks a girl where she can find more, and she points him to some dude. But her partner just comes out of nowhere and just starts strangling this guy. So Frances is out splurging her new money all over the place with her new friend. They're looking at pointless boxes when she gets a little emotional. She explains her mom, Marshall, and her friend says Marshall had the chance, but he just sucks too much. So Frances reframes and decides to buy the useless box. Then Amelia pulls up on Marshall. Turns out she's been stalking him after she stole one of his mushrooms and fed it to her son. Cured his lifelong illness. That's why she disappeared. So now Capano sits on the phone with Harrington. Harrington took some vacation days. She's solving this mushroom problem once and for all, and needs Harrington for it.
Girl, what the...
So Amelia has a plan to get Marshall out of jail. He needs to die in order to escape. He tries to have a heartfelt conversation with his bunkmate and just realizes how everything works. Socrates' shit works as magical fertilizer, the only living creature capable of growing angel shrooms. So Marshall accepts his fate, drinks his bile, and dies.
Help! I need help in here! I need help!
Marshall's awoken through the body bag. He's inspected and locked back up inside. And they fucking won. She sneaks him out and brings him to her car. Turns out, being a professional myologist or whatever isn't a very high-paying career whatsoever, which is why she needs these mushrooms to work. So now Harrington and Capano go over all their evidence, trying to connect this massive fucking conspiracy. And they figured out that Jonas is the big man, their real boss, the dude who's actively paying the government to kill Marshall. Capano reveals he needs to go see and talk to Marshall, like immediately, face to face. But Harrington just says it isn't going to end well, and she doesn't really think it's a good idea, but he's gonna do it anyway. So it turns out they're testing all these drugs on rabbits. Rick swears he wishes he was a fucking rabbit sometimes, but Frances doesn't seem too convinced. So Frances's secretary reveals she's getting a call from the prison. She gets a call from Wong, and he lets her in on the fact that Marshall got real sick last night, and that she'll probably never see him again. Oh. And that he also fucking hated her.
So wait.
So he doesn't even know why he made him make this stupid fucking call in the first place.
Marshall is...
Jonas goes over how sad it is that Marshall's finally dead, but they obviously could give two fucks. So Marshall goes to Frances's house and collects all of his shit, but she goes back just in time to find all of this shit going down. They get into this big ass fight, and it does seem like Marshall really hates her.
With the Reunical insulated water bottle! I don't want an explanation. I want my tortoise and my mushrooms, and then we'll be on our way.
Was he drawing on my wall?
Don't talk to my son.
I saved them for you.
They were mine to begin with. You don't even know, do you, how much more important this tortoise is than you? You really think Reunical would ever release something like this?
You know, I'm happy you got out. Huang thought you were dead.
I am dead. Consider me dead.
Oh, shit.
After Jonas finds out about Rick's plan, he fires him, with Frances following soon after. But not before Jonas publicly shuts it all down. Everything. All over. Capano and Harrington look over the footage. They've got a good feeling Marshall's still alive somewhere out there, and now they know Amelia is full circle involved too. Marshall takes Socrates to his brother's shop once again, and it's here that we find Amelia's son is still constantly seeing these little white guys. Anyway, Marshall takes some more stuff, pays like a quarter of the price, and then dips, but not before telling him that he'll probably never see him again. Fucking asshole. The more that Marshall's next to Amelia's son, the more he sees these little white guys. So Jonas goes to his own doctor, but she's got some really bad news for him. Meanwhile, Francis is currently busy deleting and destroying any remaining evidence of the project, but they're still not done with her yet. Rick pulls up beside her and stops her. He pulls out his shroom and reveals that he has a plan now. So Marshall takes Amelia back to his trailer, but it turns out shit's gone a lot different. Heidi found it. She's turned it into a full containment facility full of employees and all this bullshit.
Hello, Marshall.
But it's okay though, because Heidi still welcomes him in with open arms. It turns out that Amelia was with Heidi all along. She's effectively backstabbed Marshall too, kinda. Things aren't looking so great after all. Maybe he probably shouldn't left Francis. Heidi's been trying so hard to figure out how to grow these stupid fucking things, but she genuinely can't figure it out. She needs him. So she shows him the new grow house, but he still just can't seem to trust her. I don't think it's gonna stop her though. She just continues warming him right on up. Trying to, at least. He lets her in on the fact that she was missing one important piece, Socrates' feces. You need it for the mutate gene. So the debts go to the fish shop, and it ain't looking so good for him after they find his illegal exports in his basement. So this poor kid just fucking crashes out and tells him everything he knows. Harrington goes to call Cecile, but Capano stops her. He's stuck in the conspiracy, but she can't fully see it. Not yet, at least. She shuts his argument down and kicks him out of her investigation. He tells her that he's doing this shit alone then, and she just drives right on off. So the scientist shows Francis some of the side effect tapes, and it is not looking great. This is actually like really bad. Some guy comes in for like a cut up finger, but he's forced to turn away because it's a cut up finger. Some old lady starts shouting at Marshall about her husband dying and being turned away and dying right after, but Marshall claims that he was just old, he wasn't sick, there wasn't anything wrong with him, and either way, he ain't a fucking doctor. Then this nice lady drops by with a pie, and that makes Heidi really upset. She claims that the lady is trying to buy Marshall off, so she claims he could use a break. After she says this though, it really enrages the crowd, enough for some dude to shout out that he paid to be here. It really raises Marshall's flags, but he isn't even given enough time to fully process the situation. So Heidi lets him in on the fact that there are a lot of dying people. All these people need them just as much as the rest of the world. The line's growing bigger and bigger every day. They're not getting enough product out. They need to make sure that they have more. They need to figure out a way for mass production, but Marshall just claims she's trying to run too fast. So he's forced to call Zane. He asks him to import more Peru tortoises, but Zane claims he can't do it without a good bit of dough because of all this heat pouring out of his ass now. So Marshall says fine. After the call, he spots one of the white dudes again, but now on the turtle. They're obviously trying to tell him something. So Marshall walks out and finds them making a tincture, which is highly unregulated and extremely fucking suspicious. He tries to dig out his shrooms, when he wakes up, he immediately alerts the group to the fact that this is way too fucking risky, and Heidi lets him in on the fact that there are some people out there who have been waiting days. So he's left with a really shitty choice. Meanwhile, Francis is busy having a little talk with Rick. She tells him that this med is going to be way too expensive, so she claims they need to make some changes, but Rick says insurance will absolutely cover it. But she quickly remembers her mother's situation. They were barely letting her see her because of the insurance not going through. Imagine dying over an insurance quarrel. Capano finds Amelia shopping at some store and has more than a few questions for her. First, he wants to know why he stood up his partner. Second, he wants to know why Big Pharma wants wants this poor man gone so bad. Cecile calls Jonas and lets him in on the fact that Marshall currently has a grow camp planted in North Carolina. He is absolutely not dead and he's actively rebuilding everything. But little does Cecile know, Jonas needs those fucking shrooms more than anybody. He'll be dead within a matter of weeks without it. Marshall goes into Heidi's office and tells her that she cannot charge people for this. But then Rusty thinks it's smart to include Marshall in on the fact that Heidi sells the shrooms to him and his brother to sell to healthy junkies, but claims he won't have anything to do with any of that business. That's way too fucked up for him. But she isn't having it and tells him they need to go for another walk. However, before they can depart, Marshall's jumped by the man he saved from the crash. He now has a gun and tries to murder Marshall. As he gets the shit beaten out of him and is dragged away, the white creatures invade everything. The man just can't stop seeing them. So Frances makes her meds, Cecile waits on Jonas's word, and Harrington prepares to raid the containment. Meanwhile, the help around the facility try to nail down exactly what the hell is wrong with this guy. Heidi and Marshall go on their walk, and Harrington and her gang pull up. So Marshall claims they need more testing done. He swears this isn't working. Everyone needs to go home. This is like really, really bad. He genuinely feels bad for Heidi, as this was like her life's work or whatever. He claims they should do some tests for like another year or two, but she just can't wait any longer. Now Capano's involved. Amelia shows him the shroom and actually gives him one, all before asking where exactly Marshall is. So she starts to take him to Heidi, the only one who will know. But all of a sudden, he notices some sus guys taking pictures. Heidi claims Marshall went out to the woods and that he'll be back eventually, but Capano ain't fucking buying it. He dips into that fucking forest and saves Marshall's life right there and then. When Marshall wakes up, he isn't on a beach this time. He's in a dead desert, standing in front of an active event, immortalized in stone. Frances is meeting with Mark and their future boss. He goes to touch her hand, but it crumbles. Frances actually feels it. She pulls her hand back at the touch. She knocks down her wine in the process, and Marshall sees that too, so he makes the shape of an upside-down elephant in it, the only place she can truly find him at, and she watches him make it. Capano can't believe what he just saw. There is absolutely no time to think. All of a sudden, Jonas is spotted waiting in the line. He tries to pay his way up, but it ain't looking too good. Jonas has made a very, very ill mistake, so when he's pushed out of the way, another man is pushed over, and he drops an FBI badge. He's forced to shoot into the air to get the fucking crowd off of him. This allows Jonas to sneak into the grow chamber. He sucks down as many mushrooms as he can, and then just like usual, passes the fuck out. But when he wakes up, he isn't on some beach somewhere. It looks like hell is imagined. It's just this old wood house in the middle of a cornfield. A very haunting red sky overshadows everything, but he just walks right on inside. He looks around, but then he's down on the ground. His body is falling apart. He throws up another version of him. He tries to get up, but every bone in his body completely collapses under themselves. He throws up his teeth and a collection of pill stew before throwing up another, even more deformed version of him. It is absolutely disgusting. And then, when he looks outside, he finds his old body, still falling apart. Meanwhile, the guys look on in complete terror. Even they don't even fully understand what's happening right now. Heidi gives Linda a gun. Meanwhile, Capano carries Marshall to the tent, but he's still too fucking weak. Capano tells him to get the fuck out of there, like, now, you stupid fucking idiot. Oh my god. The agents in Harrington's car go over how dangerous all these guys are, and that force is absolutely necessary. She tries her hardest to shut them all down, but he just continues right on over her. Meanwhile, Rusty spots the chopper, calls the raid, and then it's way over. Rusty sabotages their car, and they go spinning before they're completely tipped. It spirals into all-out war. Rusty's mushrooms, all the progress, fucking all gone. Rusty keeps on trying to get the fucking bird, but he's shot and killed in an instant, and Rusty ain't the only one either. Harrington is shot as well, and that's when Capano launches out of the wrecked SUV. She runs up to Harrington screaming for help. She's made a massive mistake, one that she will never be able to take back. So Frances trips absolute balls in her hotel.
Babe, let's get married.
You
ever had a lot of money?
decides to just call Rick up. She's running away, and she's fucking done. She's keeping her car, and you can have the fucking blue candy.
It's a tricky set of chemicals, and we don't really understand all the effects.
Anyway, just because prophets can't stay up on the pill side of things doesn't mean the shroom doesn't have alternative uses. They find that it has this Cool Ranch Doritos flavoring, perfect for a spice, sparkle, no FDA involved. Rick gets so fucking excited about not hurting anyone, and all the sales look perfect.
Let's fucking do this.
So Francis makes it to the rock, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of Marshall anywhere. But Marshall's actively driving. Well, trying to. He can't stop falling asleep. Oh, and tripping balls over Dick. This little dude pops up and turns off the radio, making sure to remind him to meet Francis, all in the process. Harrington goes to Capano's room and tries to talk things out with him. He ain't looking too good. There's still a chance of him making it, but he probably won't be back on the special forces or no nothing like that. Anyway, these mushrooms are now super illegal. You can go to jail forever if you're caught with one. But she kept one and decides to just say fuck it and feeds him it. She takes one more good look at him before walking out, praying that it'll do some kind of good. So Marshall pulls up to his rock, deciding to take a little walk, just to get some fresh air. And that's when he catches sight of Francis, just sitting there. Man survived heights from hundreds of thousands of miles, but still can't keep his fucking balance. He reveals that he can't fucking do this alone. He's already died like 5 or 7 times. The world is just fucked. The whole government is after the both of them now. She just made enemies with Rick, and the mushroom is still no closer to being safe. Finally, Francis and Marshall officially decide that they'll start tomorrow. And they found Jonas and contained him safely, and now they have him healing, but he's currently stuck in a coma, reliving awful nightmares over and over again. In better news, fucking Capano gets up and pulls out his iconic push-ups. Heidi kept her tonic, she pours it into this storage, and now she's just gotta rebuild herself. Amelia is now on the run.